Now we know. The secret is out. Having watched the vice presidential debate, you know exactly what is being put on you by both of these parties. This vice presidential debate mattered in a way that nobody's talking about, but you need to think about it. I'm Chris Cuomo. Welcome to the Chris Cuomo Project. And here it is. And no, it is not about CBS. It's not about the moderators. No way you look at that stage and say Tim Walz is playing at the same bullshit that J.D. Vance is. Because Walz is Walz. He is a traditional liberal Democrat. That's what he is. I was raised by one, okay? He's not a Manchurian candidate. Are you seeing this shit online? That Tim Walz is a Manchurian candidate? Tim Walz is somebody that the Democrats and whoever their nefarious others are that are part of this movement to make us communists, because socialist isn't enough anymore. Not enough. Not enough. Communist, even though the same party who are telling you to fear commies are doing what? Pretending Putin is a victim. Think about that. Here's the key to decoding the game. Think to yourself, wait, does this make sense? Nobody does that anymore. We're so addicted to confirmation bias and laboring on what we already think that sometimes we fail to stop to think. But that's what you do because you're critical thinkers. You're independents. That's why you seek this out for your own confirmation that this is as fucked up as you think it is. And you're right. And I can point it out to you by what we all just watched. Tim Walz is what he has always been. You never heard about him because there was no reason to. He was not being hidden as some secret weapon to launch. Who launches a secret weapon as VP? Come on. The only VP debate that has ever mattered in my lifetime was Quayle and Benson. Who? Right. Quayle, Mr. I don't know how to spell potato, although it was an alternate spelling. Potato, P-O-T-A-T-O-E. Some people do that shit. I'm just telling you. But he got beaten up with that. And then the only memorable moment. A lot of you weren't even cognizant at the time. Benson, elder statesman. Quayle, playing the youth card. Okay? Right? You think that's new? It's not new. It's always been in politics. So Quayle is talking about himself as being like Jack Kennedy or JFK, right? Benson says, famously, I knew Jack Kennedy. You are no Jack Kennedy. And it resonated. Why? Well, because they like a nice slap down, and it happened to be true. And Quayle was trying to position himself as something that is way ahead of its time, if you think about it. He was a Republican trying to present himself as the best of what the Democrats value. It was ahead of its time as a tactic. Didn't work. But that was the last time we gave a shit about a vice presidential debate, and not for the right reasons. Similarly, nobody is talking about the debate today as anything formative of the propositions of the two sides in any kind of productive way. And I'll tell you, if there's one thing that I'm upset at myself at, and the rest of the media, we're not pushing what matters. We are not committed to serving your interests. We're not. We're too tied to ratings. Me too. I want you mofos to click on this. What did he say? And what's the thumbnail? Why? That's how we stay in business. So we're constantly trying to balance this. And as a result, there was so much last night left on the table on purpose. How is J.D. Vance and Trump? And let's be honest, he ain't going to do shit, okay? He's going to be the echo. Every VP is. I'm not down on J.D. Vance. I'm just down on one tactic, okay? J.D. Vance does not believe what he's saying to you. How do I know that? Well, all politicians lie. I don't believe that. I come from a family of public service. My father believed in what he said. My brother believes in what he says. Are they the same guy? No. They came up in different times with different motivations, okay, and different life experiences. But the father was the father, and the son reveres and resembles the father in ways that matter to me, and I know you don't. Okay, and anybody in the media wants to tell me about my brother or my father in a way that is different than what I think, guess who's right? Okay, I am. And not just because I'm the father's son and the son's brother. That was complicated. But because I do the same job as these media people. And frankly, I've been doing it longer than most and better than most. So I think I know what I'm talking about. And I'm telling you, last night, what we saw, what did you learn about what Trump is going to do on the border? Nothing. They have no plan. And let me tell you something. They need one. Why? We're not a wall away. Do walls matter? Yeah, of course, physical barriers matter. You just don't have a consistent border that can be made with a wall like what we see between Egypt and Palestine. Now, that's a fucking wall, okay? Our brothers, the Palestinians. Yeah, look at that wall on Rafah with all the wire and the thickness. Yeah, Egypt is just dying for their brothers to get in there easily. Give me a break. So, we're not a wall away. The most important changes on the border, they didn't even mention last night. The moderators didn't, the Democrat didn't, and the Republican didn't. Why? What matters most? Ask the people working on the border. Rule changes. Sexy. Not at all. That's why you don't hear about it. What is asylum? What counts? What economic indexes, motivations, circumstances should qualify? Because now they're all claiming asylum and it's all economic. Catch and release. Rule change. They didn't even discuss it. That's what matters most. How did they not discuss it? Because they're making a different bet. And I got to tell you, Democrats are on the wrong side of the bet. Kamala Harris going to the border, mistake. It just emphasized an issue I've never seen in polling before. I have never seen the border, immigration, which are such different things, by the way. And really, that's proof of premise. The border is a straight up security and staffing and legal issue, functionally. Immigration is something totally different. It's about who are you bringing in and for what reasons. Trump wasn't wrong when he said we need the best of the best to be coming into the country. Now, where I think he's wrong is that he assumes the best and the best are white people from Norway. And I believe that it's people that we're letting leave after they get educated here. You have people who come in from all over the world, milk our education system, which is the best in the world. Fuck anybody who says different, okay? You want me to sound like everybody else on social media? Fine. Fuck you if you think that coming here to learn how to program, how to be an engineer, how to find skills in business that you can bring back home, which de facto is proof of my premise. So you can learn what you learn in America, go back to your country and dominate, and we're not the best in terms of preparing you. Come on. Why do you get to just leave? Why shouldn't there be a commitment here? I believe in a give and a get. We don't even have the conversation, but that's immigration. That's immigration. What are most of the visa overstays? Now, what's the trick question in that? Visa overstays. This has been a little bit of a boogeyman, and it came up in the debate, and they didn't deal with it. Crossing the border illegally has nothing to do with a visa. Visa overstays is the rebuttal point to that. To mitigate the problem at the southern border, you'll hear people, mostly on the Democratic side, saying, what about visa overstays? Visa overstay means that you have paperwork, that you filed paperwork. Most of those people come here overwhelmingly by plane. So that's a different aspect of the problem, okay? And it shouldn't be conflated, and it's a cheap move for people on the left to do that. That's an issue, but it's not the kind of issue that we're talking about at the southern border. So you heard nothing about the plans, certainly not on Walz's side, because they don't have a plan. They're just trying to get away from the problem by saying, well, we had a piece of legislation. Look, they get 30% credit for that answer, and here's why. Trump was stupid ham-fisted in having his people call up to kill the legislation because something should be better than nothing. And their rationale was obvious. We want to campaign on the problem. They said that. McConnell said it. Thank God for his senescence because it created candor. And he said his guys want to campaign on the problem, so we scuttled it. Now, is it also true, two things can be true at once, that that bill was not going to pass in the House? Yes. Why? It was incomplete. But Republicans helped, just a handful of them, though. So two things can be true at once. Trump did the wrong thing, but the bill wasn't a panacea. Okay? So Walz gets incomplete on that. But Walz is Walz. He's a liberal Democrat. That's what he's always been. He's not a Manchurian candidate. That is the stupidest thing. I can't believe everybody who echoes that, I unfollow. I do. I mean, I don't follow anybody on Instagram anyway, but I'm saying I write them off. Why? Because they're peddling bullshit. Vance is a guy who believed in true conservatism and in getting the stigma off a class of white people that he believed were being unfairly judged. And then he switched solely out of opportunity. Solely out of opportunity. You don't go from saying Trump could be our next Hitler, which I believe is a ridiculous thing, and I think it's very, very insulting to the Holocaust experience, to just throw around Hitler as a proxy for being a malefactor. All right, there's a big difference between being a bad guy or bad for us or bad choice and a homicidal psychopath. But you go from that to thinking that the guy is Yahweh, Hashem, for my Jewish brothers and sisters with the holidays coming up. I wish you all good things during the holidays. They're going to matter more than other things. Other years, we'll talk about that. At this point, let's pause, and I'm going to tell you when we come back out of the ad where they really told you what it's about last night. Support for the Chris Cuomo Project comes from Cozy Earth. Cozy Earth, I love it. Why? It helps make your house a home. Isn't that one of the things that we really want once we get home after all the crazy, is to get cozy? I love the sheets, especially the bamboo sheet set, okay? 100% premium viscose bamboo. Breathable, uniquely soft. It's softer with every wash, and they don't crush the environment. I love the sleepwear also. Gotta be honest. It's loose where you need it to be, and it's warm, and it's easy, and it washes well. I dig it. But the sheets are one of one. And that they're using bamboo is huge for me, because I care. I care about what my money is doing to help with the problems that face all of us. So, your peace of mind matters. Make a wise choice this election season, or at least one of them. Embrace the comfort of Cozy Earth and feel the difference. Go to CozyEarth.com/Chris. Use the code Chris, and you'll get an exclusive discount of up to 40% off. I mean, you can't lose. If you get a post-purchase survey, say you heard about Cozy Earth from the Chris Cuomo Project, please. Support for the Chris Cuomo Project comes from AG1. Listen, you know I take it because it works. We all need supplementation, all right? Gut health matters. Whole body health matters. How you start the day matters. AG1 checks all of those boxes. And it's not me saying it, right? It's not just a feeling. These are research-backed reckonings, okay? Multiple studies, not just the ingredients, the entire formula. You see what I'm saying? AG1, therefore, can ensure that it is packed with a variety of nutrient-dense ingredients. Complements a healthy diet. I drink it because I know it's going to work. And I know it because I've used it and I see the results. If there's one product I trust to support my whole body health, it's AG1. That's why I've partnered with them for so long. That's why I wish they'd give me more business. It's easy and satisfying to start your journey with AG1. You try it, and you're going to get a free 1-year supply of Vitamin D3K2. You try it, you're going to get 5 free AG1 Travel Packs with your first purchase at drinkag1.com/CCP. Where? drinkag1.com/CCP. Support for the Chris Cuomo Project comes from 120 Life. I got a member of my family that's got high blood pressure. We are using 120 Life, all right? And so far, so good. Now, is it a cure-all? Of course not, but you got to do the right things if you want to get to the right place. And high blood pressure is no joke. It is the #1 risk factor for mortality, okay? 1 in 2 adults have high blood pressure. That's 50-50, okay? So if you can help yourself, why wouldn't you? 120 Life is a blend of great tasting superfruit juices, can actually help lower your blood pressure. Try it yourself risk-free, 2-week trial pack. Go to 120life.com, use the code Chris, and you'll save 15% and you'll get free shipping. They're so sure that 120 Life will actually lower your blood pressure in 2 weeks. They will give you your money back if you are not satisfied. You cannot lose. But those high blood pressure numbers, you can lose those. They can get lower 120life.com. That's 120life.com. Use the code Chris, 15% off. Support for the Chris Cuomo Project comes from Shopify. Now, let me tell you something about what I've learned about business, okay? Very often, when it comes to success in selling, it is often not just about the business doing the work to commit to a product, market it, and get it to consumers in a way that they want it. It's who is helping them do that. The business behind the business. When you look at things that are selling through the roof, and Shopify, who I'm talking about, works with Alo, Allbirds, Skims. Of course, all those names, you think brand, you think product, very cool, very cool. But what about how they maximized their ability to get their product to you and me? For millions of businesses, the answer is Shopify. Upgrade your business. Get the same checkout that Untuck It uses. Sign up for your $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/ChrisC, all lowercase, and upgrade your selling today. Shopify.com/ChrisC. So, the biggest thing to be concerned about with last night is how obvious foreign situations, and let me tell you, Lebanon is a different kind of situation than in Gaza. Lebanon has a different level of concern with the surrounding states than Gaza. Very different. The media not being in Lebanon right now, me included, but I'd have to go on my own dime because my agency, like every other one, doesn't think it's important enough to be there. It's a big mistake. Everybody is getting out of the business of serving your interests because they have won you over into camps. And as long as they feed your groupthink and make you scared of the other side, it's enough to drive ratings. It's enough for social media resonance and to have the Pools and the Johnsons and the Rubins peddling stuff that plays to prejudice. No, I don't think they're Russian plants, but they took that money and they didn't think about it. Why? There's no accountability in independent media. Independent means they don't have backing and they'll do whatever they have to do to build a following. So they'll peddle shit that somebody's paying them a lot to echo, and they don't even think about it. Why? Because unlike at News Nation or ABC or any other one, they don't have lawyers and other people who've done this a long time being like, who the fuck are these guys paying us all this money to do this? Should we take this money? Let's take a look at that. They didn't do any of that shit. Admittedly, they didn't do any of that shit. Why? That's independent. Independent doesn't just mean you're better. It's like saying you're a libertarian. It's just a weird label to put on yourself as if somehow that makes you better than everybody else. It's bullshit. And you saw it last night. You saw it with this presidential debate. No border plan on either side, just blame. The economy, tax cuts versus tax cuts for the middle class. Nobody's talking about what to cut in spending. Nobody. Why? Trump doesn't cut spending. He's using the proxy of going after the deep state as a way of changing the footprint of government, which is a traditional conservative concern, right? Always has been, since Hamilton versus Madison. What? Google it. What were the Federalist Papers about in large part? Do we have a big government or do we keep it really to the states that are just united on the most basic levels of need? That's been the debate from the beginning. We've gotten away from it by a lot of other bullshit that's not as hard to deal with as that. So the conservative orthodoxy, which had existed until Trump, was, I'm going to give you back some of your money. I'm going to take less for the government because the government's going to do less, right? My father's rebuttal to Reagan, who was really the OG on this in the modern era, was all the government we need, but only the government we need, which was a nod towards government's got to work for the people who need it. And less is not always more, right? So that was the back. Now they won't even have the debate. They're not talking about what spending they were going to cut. No way. Why? Because Trump doesn't want to cut spending. That's why the conservatives were so pissed at him. That's why Paul Ryan had to leave. It wasn't just that he was anti-Trump. He's a fiscal conservative. Trump isn't. Vance knows that. He's a smart guy. So he just hides from it. Foreign. How are they going to get a ceasefire? Because these guys like Trump more? What are you talking about? Well, it didn't happen on his watch. So what? How do you know that, one, that's even true? You don't think Iran was spreading money around and making these plans during Trump's administration? Don't be naive. Just because there's a fulmination right now, fomenting, doesn't mean that nothing bad was happening on Trump's watch. What is the plan? He's going to pick up the phone and call Khamenei and say, back off? Come on. They didn't even offer you a plan. Those things will stop when Trump's president. Listen, just because we're not covering it, Lebanon is a war, okay? They are going to respond. The region may respond in kind. This is all we've ever seen in the Middle East. We don't care about history because we're lazy. It always repeats itself. All of the cliches apply. You saw it last night. Most importantly, my final takeaway from the debate is this fundamental problem in the discussion of who we are. Who the fuck are we? What is America? What are we about? You have to decide this. You have to decide this for yourself. What's my answer? I don't know. I've been thinking about it. Look, I know the right answers to give, but I don't know what matters to me in this moment. I don't know that it matters who's president right now. Because why? Because we're at such an impasse of division that it's like, does it really matter who the first two people on the tug-of-war rope are if you got so many people on either side that it's just a stalemate? You see what I'm saying? So I don't know, because neither of these people are people of particular ambition. Trump is not he is, look, you got to give him his due. Historically, he will be seen as a major, transformative, charismatic figure. Absolutely. He has checked the box of being a memorable populist. Poison populism. Well, why poison? Make America great again is by definition a reductive statement that's giving you a premise that America is in a shitty place. And he has said that a million times. He calls us a failing country. You know that, right? Those are his words, repeated and repeated. So that is inherently something the likes of which we've never seen in American leadership, which is someone ascending by saying we suck. Situations may suck, like the Great Depression, which launched FDR, of course, but he never said we suck, okay? But you got to give it to him. He's a charismatic figure. He checks that box. But he doesn't have any grand ambition. He just wants to win. See, that's why I discount Project 2025. That's why I discount the idea that he's this boogeyman of a despot in waiting. He may find that appealing, but he doesn't have the intelligence, the strategy, or just the plan to ascend to being that. Oh, but the people around him. Bullshit. That's not any more true than it is the people around Harris and Walz. I mean, this is a war of attrition. Okay? And people use that phrase, but they don't think about it. A war of attrition means we're just going to keep killing each other and see who has the most numbers to survive. As opposed to a campaign, military or political, where there are strategies to overwhelm the other side. That's not what we're about anymore. We play small ball. And the debate last night was proof. Neither one has anything new to tell you about who we are. And yes, nobody's voting for the vice presidents. And I like the cleverness of saying, oh boy, in these days and age, especially with Trump, Vance could be the next guy. That's smart. It's a smart sell. And unfortunately, it's true, right? We live in dangerous times. And this is an old guy, and who knows what's going to happen with all the stress and all the things. If he were to win, I get it. No different in the analysis than with Biden. That's why he said he'd be a one-term guy. But there was nothing offered to you that gave you reason to believe in something better than where we are. And you got to know that. And you have to seize upon it. And at a minimum, don't give in to this. Yeah, but what am I going to do, Chris? These are my choices. Demand better. Go to your side. Get on social media. You're there anyway. And start saying, I want to hear better than the other side. I don't want you to keep scaring me. I get it. I'm scared. I'm scared of you. I'm scared of you, Vance, Trump, all the empty echoes. I'm scared of you, Walz, Harris, all of the ambivalence and the moral relativism. I'm scared. Got people running around on campuses saying there shouldn't be a Jewish state. The fuck? Since when is that okay? Since now. And on the other side, just empty platitudes of pointing at the other side. Look at them on campus saying that there should be no Israel. We love Israel. Well, let's carve out the crazy Christians who love Israel because of this crazy rapture narrative that the Jews need to be in control of the Holy Land for when the Messiah comes back so we can wipe them all out. That's not, you talk about being in a hard place. When you need to count on people like that as allies, you know you're in trouble. When they are backing you because in some crazy religiosity, they believe that you're necessary to be in place so that you can be eradicated. I mean, whew. Man, tough time to be a Jew. Tough time. Tough time to be a Jew. I don't care if you don't like it. Tough time to be Palestinian. Yep. Tough time to be a Palestinian. Yep. I don't care if you don't like it. We're in a fucked up situation where we're not focused on what matters, and you saw it in this debate. These people don't give a goddamn about playing to your best interests. And it's because they don't believe they have to. No plan on the economy. No plan on the border. No plan of how to create peace. None. And who we are, all they care about is that you hate the other side. And we are better than that. And I am against it. I'm against this game. I'm against these two parties. And I know people in my position don't say it, but that's because it's easier not to. And I do not fault them. I have nothing to lose. I lost my platform at CNN. I am considered independent media, and I'm not. I work for the biggest owner of television stations in America. Nexstar owns the most TV stations in America. News Nation is owned by Nexstar. I'm not independent media. I just don't give a fuck about the rules that most media plays by. Why? What are they going to do? What are they going to do? They already did it. I get it. I get that I'm not part of the club. I get that I did things and I represent things that they don't like. I get it. I just don't respect their standard. And what I do care about is that you can look at something like this VP debate and say, holy shit, they're playing me. They are playing me for a fool. And you don't want to be a sucker. And your remedy, your power is choice. You have choice to go on social media and say, hey, Harris, Walz, I'm with you. But man, you better start talking productively about shit because I'm exhausted by just how they're scary. I get it. That's why I'm for you. But give me some ideas, man. What are you going to get done? What are you going to get done if you don't have Congress? All of a sudden, Biden is starting to expand the executive actions on the border now? And you guys on the other side who are afraid of the left. One, I have two suggestions for you. How are you living? How are you living in a way that creates positive change? If you're Christians, you are held to one standard. Jesus' message is boiled down to two words: love, mercy. Do you do that? You certainly don't practice it in your politics. You have no compassion for the other side. Why not? Now, let's say you're just a critical thinker and an independent, and you're not bound by some idea of the ethereal or the beyond. Okay, I'm with you. How are you about making things better versus avoiding what you believe is worse? Look at it through that lens. This election matters, but it is not the sine qua non. It is not that without this, nothing. We're going to be making choices about what we accept in our media, in our dialogue, in who we're allowing to come in and feed our brain. Where are you getting your brain food? How diverse is your palate, at least? Look, you got to eat shit that you think is good for you, but doesn't taste that great. That's what this debate was about. The passion of the perfidy, the faithlessness and our ability to discern the game, to see what they are doing, what they're putting on us. I don't blame the moderators. I think there should be no moderators. You need to just have an unvarnished look at the people and what they think they can put over on you. That's what it was about. Oh, he never said who won. Nobody wins. Nobody wins. Walz is who he is. Okay? Vance is who he is. Who's better? It's all depending on who you want to win. You can't look at it and say, well, is Walz more authentic? Of course it is. Vance changed what he is for opportunity. So what? It's politics. You're not holding him to any better standard than that. Who gave better answers? Who knows? Who cares? The polls are going to reflect exactly how you feel about who should be president. That's not the measure. The measure is, look at how little they're offering you. And you should demand better. I'm Chris Cuomo. Thank you for subscribing and following here at the Chris Cuomo Project. I wish it weren't so simple to call out the game and to show you the game that is afoot. But my hope is that you demand better for yourself. I'll see you on News Nation, 8 p and 11 p every weekday night. If you want this, but you don't want the ads, I get it. Join the Substack. It's only $5 a month. You get this without ads. You get it first. You get my doctor on all the long COVID stuff. You get my workouts and the walk and talks that I'm doing that are parts of my self-improvement that I do very poorly. But the ideas are rich and they are real. And they're founded in some of the oldest philosophies and the best reckonings of human development that we have. I just don't practice them well. Why? Because I'm weak. So don't be like me. But you can learn what I know and put it to use. And it's all to Substack for only $5 a month. I appreciate it. And there are links to get the free agent gear if you want to wear your independence. But I don't care. I'm not Kenneth Cole, my brother-in-law. I'm not just selling shit. I'm trying to use the money to crowdsource so we can give money to things that we all care about. But that's on you. But the value proposition is $60 a year to get this ad-free and all those other things. I mean, to me, it's a no-brainer. I think I'll subscribe. I'll see you next time. Let's get after it.